Hey everybody, Stephen Boyd of SB Entertainment and SB Consultant Group. I trust I'm finding all of you well, doing well in your various professions, wherever you are all over the country. I hope that you're having a great day. Today is March the 14th, 2019. I'm taking a moment to share some highlights from some new material that we're working on. This piece of material is called The Essence of Great Teaching. The Essence of Great Teaching. And when we think about essence, the one thing that comes to my mind, and perhaps even your mind, is the kinds of ingredients that perhaps you might put in a particular dish. Or more particularly, if you're going to make a gravy. When you think about essence, you think about those flavors that you kind of put in to, sweeten or flavor a particular dish and make it taste good, make it flavorful, make it savory. So when we talk about great teaching, what are the ingredients that are kind of within this stew of great teaching that really makes it stick for kids? It helps kids really attain and learn at great levels, attaining that aptitude, drawing out the greatness that's within them. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about and trying to excavate and share with you, that we hope to be able to share with you in a book form and in a training as well. But I want to just briefly review some things I talked about a couple of days ago. The first thing I talked about was preparation. Preparation. Obviously, with anything that we do, particularly if we're going to draw from a cooking analogy, is preparing the meal, getting the meal prepared. And what are the ingredients that you need to get that particular meal prepared? So the question for us is, what are the ingredients that we need to prepare great teaching for the kids that we serve? Well, there are three things that we talked about a couple other day. I'm just going to briefly recap those. We talked about mental preparation. We talked about lesson preparation, and we talked about physical preparation. The mental prep is the mental rigor that the teacher goes through to think about who the students are, what they need, and how to deliver the content. And then we talked about the lesson, obviously, is writing down and making sure that we have a roadmap for which to be able to deliver that content. And then finally, the physical prep is how the physical environment needs to be laid out so that that particular message that we're going to share with those students is delivered in a very a digestible way. Today, what I want to do is I want to talk to you a little about the second ingredient that's a part of the essence of great teaching. And today I want to talk about salutation. Salutation. Now, traditionally, when you think about salutation, we're thinking about a greeting, to salute, to recognize, to acknowledge. That's what a salutation is. And for that reason, that's kind of where I'm going with that. But again, small sub-ingredients of this ingredient, similar to what we talked about in terms of preparation, I want to deal with three sub-ingredients of salutation. The first one is what I call the physical ID. The physical ID of salutation has to do with acknowledging the student who they are physically, but what is it about them physically that we can praise or that we can commandeer, if you will? Is it a new hairstyle, new shoes? Is it something about the way they walk? Is it something about how they talk? What is it about them physically in terms of things, how they interact with the physical world that we notice as teachers, as practitioners, that we can salute and praise and grab some some salutation about? One of the things about students, particularly adolescents, is that they're very, very picky about their physical nature. And so anytime that we as adults can praise something new that they try, something that they attempt, it's a great thing for us to recognize that and salute that. The next thing I want to talk about is spiritual essence. Spiritual essence. Now, spiritual essence really has to do with us getting through the core of who those children are and praising something within them that's innate that we can bring out and praise. It reminds me of a story about a monk community that had a large statue that after years they wanted to move from one monastery to another location. And the story goes on to say that they had some excavators come to try to help move this statue, but it was so heavy, it couldn't be moved. They even brought in some machinery. And of course, we're talking about probably the turn of the century. So now we're talking about the end of the Industrial Revolution. So using cranes and all these kind of things to build machinery was available. But this crane did not have the power at that time to move this large statue. So the story goes on to say that one of the monks that was in charge of the whole excavation process and the moving process was very curious and kind of got a hammer and a chisel and began to chisel very slowly, very delicately at the statue. He chiseled and chiseled and chiseled until he saw a small, like a flashing light within the statue. So he continued to chisel some more until he could open up enough of it to see that, in fact, it wasn't a clay statue. It wasn't a statue that was made of cement, but it was actually a statue that was pure gold. So the next morning, he had everybody stop what they're doing. They had all the monks get hammers and axes and chisels, very delicately chisel away at all the concrete that was around that statue to reveal solid gold. So one of the reasons why some of us can't move students from here to there is we have to peel through the layers of what's happening to them spiritually. So sometimes the external things that happen in their life cover up who they really are and what they're trying to get to shine out to us and to you and to other people. But spiritual essence has to do with us as practitioners and teachers, administrators, being able to find the good within that student, even if it means taking the chisel and just slowly chiseling away, whether it's through a smile, whether it's through a greeting. Sometimes it's through tough love. But if they can sense that tough love to grab that spiritual essence of who they are, it makes who they are, quote unquote, much more amenable to us and to the students that are around them. So what is it that we do, getting back to the essence of great teaching, that help that student find spiritual essence? What is it that we do to locate that spiritual essence? I like to say this all the time, everywhere I go, and whenever I'm giving speeches, that the word educated does not mean to communicate information. The word educate means to draw out from. And so one of the things that we want to draw out of our kids is a spiritual essence. Help them discover the gold of who they are. Thirdly, the final thing is future support. So when we talk about this salutation, we're talking about future support. One of the ways that I can recognize who you are and celebrate who you are as a student is provide you the support that you need to support you to your future. And that's self-explanatory, that our relationship is not one and done. I have students, after doing this for over 20 years, that still, when they see me in a mall or they see me on the street, oh, Mr. Boyd, I remember this, I remember that. But here's the thing that really gets me feeling good about what I've done as a teacher is when they share a story about how I supported them at a time perhaps when I knew things were going on and sometimes when I didn't know what was going on in their life. But the fact that I continue to support them in the future or provide them support or scaffolding. If you think about the kinds of things that we do with pictures in our house and we kind of put something up behind it to hold the picture up, that's what I mean by future support. What is it that you say and do that not only help that student in that moment, but to continue to provide that scaffolding, that support for that student in the future? That's all we have for now that we want to share with respect to our second ingredient called salutation. So what is the essence of great teaching? We want to continue to talk about that, share that with you, unleash some of the thoughts that we have as we're putting this product together, just to let you know what we're thinking and let you know what's out there. All right. I'm Stephen Boyd, the student engagement agent. Help me drive boredom out of the classroom once and for all. Take care and bye-bye.